Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another StarCastTV commentary done by yours truly, Flash for the win. Today, we're going to be going into a best-of-5 series between these two players. Soma as the red Zerg spawning here on Sylphid at the 12 o'clock position, as well as Snow spawning here as the, I don't know what this is, a little odd blue color here at the bottom left-hand position. Some introductions to these players. I think for most of the people who do follow competitive StarCraft quite closely, these two players should be of no surprise to the viewers here. Snow and Soma are both very accomplished players, and they actually have quite a bit of a pseudo-rivalry brewing, as a matter of fact. Soma has gotten the better of Snow over these past couple of games, I will say. But both these players are excellent players. They both have had many high-placing finishes in the ASL, as well as some of the various tournaments that have been going on. Soma, I believe, had 3-0'd Snow, I think, in the KSL 4. And then Soma also beat Snow 5-4, very close series in the Sampow Star League, I want to say. And this is all both last year, or maybe even, I think Sampow is this year, as a matter of fact. But Snow is a two-time runner-up in the ASL, having lost to both Rain and Flash in the ASL 5 and, was it 8? I believe it was 8. 8 or 9, respectively. Soma having many high-placing finishes, usually getting 4th place. He's a very solid player, and definitely in the smaller tournaments where maybe some of the best players in the world aren't competing, he can definitely win the tournaments. And like I said, in Sampow, he ended up winning the whole thing. I think in the Caster Muse Star League Season 3, he ended up winning the whole thing as well, beating Sack 4-1. So he's definitely a very accomplished player, very capable player. I would put him at a very high A-ranking Zerg, maybe even low S-rank Zerg. He is definitely a guy who was recently an amateur that rose up. Last year, I believe that the Africa had a challenger season where some of the quote-unquote amateur players would be able to test themselves and try to make a name for themselves, and he ended up winning the whole thing. So, very accomplished player, very good new face to the scene that can definitely carry on the tradition of strong Zergs. But yeah, Snow obviously being the very good Protoss player. Definitely a big weakness of Snow's is PvP. His PvT is excellent. His PvZ a little bit inconsistent. He'll beat players like Action, for example. I think he beat Action in one of the ASLs, and then he ended up losing the Hero and Soma again, I believe, in the group stages. I think Soma 3-0'd him in one of the group stages for the KSL. So, you know, it definitely comes around to how consistent Snow's playing on a given day for PvZ. PvT is his strongest matchup. Soma, on the other hand, I definitely gotta say his PvZ is pretty strong. His ZvP is strong. His ZvT also fairly strong, especially in this meta. I think ZvT is a very good matchup for Zergs these days compared to the old school meta where Zergs definitely did have a much more difficult time of playing the matchup. But anyways, as I get into the matchup, Snow did go for a Nexus right after Forge after seeing the 12 hatchery opener here from Soma. Soma also going for the 3 o'clock position here on Sylphid. Excuse me. And so it looks like he will be attempting to maybe go into a more longer macro game, not going for the mineral-only base here at the 2 o'clock position. And we're going to see the layer coming down. So it looks like a very standard game so far from Soma. Doesn't look like anything out of the ordinary. We're not going to see... Ugh, sorry, I don't know what's wrong with me today. We're not going to see a fast second gas coming out here from Soma. And, well, I mean, he definitely can still go into the second gas, go for metas once this layer finishes. That'll be what is going to be crucial to see what build he goes into. Otherwise, it's most likely just going to be going into some kind of normal game. Here's the yearly hatchery. There it is. Definitely interesting to see this early 4th hatch. Not in the ordinary. Normally, if you see this early hatchery, you don't see the layer. You normally just see a Hydra stand, and you'll go into the 4 to 5, 6 hatchery Hydra without layer, and you would skip the Spire because you'd have a lot earlier Hydras. But in this case, we're having a very early 4th hatchery, so we could definitely see some Mutalisk play. Definitely sitting on 4 hatcheries is very common when Zergs do want to go for Mutas. Meanwhile, quite a few Zerglings being made here by Soma all around the map, getting quite good vision, scouting for any potential proxies, I suppose. And on the other side of the map, Snow is just going into normal Corsair build. Nice wall up here with the Zealots and the Probe and the early second gas. So he will be teching up into the Citadel of Dune. So Snow looks like he is going to be playing fairly standard. And there is the Spire here for Soma. 5th hatchery as well on the way. So we're probably going to see the Hydralis Den coming out fairly shortly. We do not see... Oh, there's the second gas. Okay. But this is looking like it is not going to be any kind of a meatless play. The second gas would have been finished by now, and his gas bank would have been a lot higher. So it looks like, yeah, we're just going to be going to a Hydra build here. Hydra and Evo Chamber both having been finished now, or being almost finished. And there's the Hydra Speed coming out now. So, again, going to the very standard game. Pair of Scourge are coming out now for Soma as well. +1 air upgrades being started alongside the +1 melee upgrade. So this will be going to probably a Speed Zealot timing attack. We see the leg upgrade coming out as well on the Citadel of Doom. So we're going to see how much pressure that Snow is going to be able to do here. Meanwhile, it is going to be actually 6 hatch for Soma. So it definitely looks like that Soma is going to be having a very comfortable game moving forward to deal with this early attack. Now, he did end up losing an Overlord, so this potential supply block can annoy him a little bit in order for him to pump out a couple more Hydras, and he is, as you can see, building a lot more Overlords, and he is getting a couple of static defenses here at each of his bases just to help deal with the early Zealot harass. Now the Hydra Den is finished. Hydra Speed is almost done. Here come the Hydras coming out. 3 Hydras right now in production. And looks like that this Zealot harass will probably not get too much done. Lings here already blocking the front so that the Zealots cannot get in too easily. And yes, the Zealots will be warded away quite easily. Scourge flying overhead as well to make sure that they can keep tabs on where the Zealots are going. They're going to go try to push up here into the 3rd base. But again, a nice Ling wall. The early Ling investment here from Soma definitely paying dividends. Excuse me, sorry about that. Woo! Morning allergies, as I like to call them. But Snow, we're going to see what he decides to opt into moving forward. He is going to his normal Gateway Explosion, as most Protosses do at this stage of the game. And we'll see if he stops at 6, or is he going to go up to 7 or 8 gateways. Right now he's at 6 with the one up here at the natural base. And with the pro position over here, still, it looks like he's definitely going to go into potentially 7 or 8 gateways. It could be for a very strong 8 gateway timing attack, and then for him to expand into a 3rd base right afterwards. We do see +1 armor being started here for him as well. No second forge, though, for Snow. He's going right into the box facility, so maybe it is just going to be 6 gateways into an expand. Very, very standard here from Protoss, just to end up getting some economic pressure. Especially the 3rd gas for Protoss is very, very important, but we will see if he goes for a more safer mineral-only base, or he goes for the a little slightly greedier high ground 3rd base. I shouldn't say high ground. It is not high ground, as people have mentioned to me in the past. This is the normal grounded, it's just with this terrain around the sides, 3rd base. But anyways, with 6 hatcheries of production, these Hydras are starting to get masked up very, very quickly, and we're going to see a little bit of pressure coming out here on the map for Zerg very soon. Otherwise, he is going to be using this pressure to expand behind us. So you see a drone. Now, moving over towards this mineral-only base, luckily there is a DT here for Snow, so we'll be able to kill this drone quite easily. An Overlord will be able to find this, I believe. And the Zealots are now moving out to get a little bit of map control. And yes, we do see the probe moving out here to expand to the mineral-only base. So yeah, it will be just... Oh, no, he did add 7 and 8 gateways afterwards, but he will be expanding towards this mineral-only 10 o'clock position. And finally, that 4th base is now going down for Soma. So... at the stage of this game, both players are just jockeying for map control right now. It will come down to that first initial fight, and we'll see how much damage that those storms will end up doing. It really comes down to how well the storms are controlled here by Snow. If we look at the High Templar count right now, he does have roughly only 3 storms, so he definitely wants to wait a little bit longer if he does want to do something aggressive here. Wait for these Templars to bank up 2 storms each. 6 storms, much better, obviously, than 3 storms, but these Templars are just a little bit away from being able to have that 2nd storm on them for energy. Corsairs will come over here, find a couple of overlords to pick off, and we'll end up seeing this 4th hatchery, or 4th base, I should say, being built. Now, Lurkers are out. He will have to wait for observers. He does have Goon range on the way, as we can see, and Goons are being produced now as well. So it will be just coming down to him stalling to defend this third base with his observers and Dragoons. But he definitely does have to do something with this army pressure that he does have. 8 gateways, a very strong army opponent position. A couple Corsairs getting caught out there. We'll see how good the storms are. Nice storm there right on top of these Hydras. Second storm not as good, but he will end up catching quite a few of those Hydras. He does have to pull back now. No observer with the army. Oh, there is one observer, but no Dragoons. And another nice storm. So good storm so far from Snow. Alright, that one was a little bit weaker, but these Hydras definitely are softened up. He will not press the advantage right now. An Overlord is coming in here. A Lurker drop actually coming into the back here. There is one cannon, but it will not be in place here. The Lurkers are going to be burrowing over here. Will the probes, will he notice the time? Snow did not notice the time. These Lurkers getting so many probe kills. 9 probe kills here. Where is the other Lurker right now? Where is it? Where's the second Lurker? I don't see it on the map. Perhaps it ended up dying, unfortunately, to maybe a cannon or something. But this Lurker, 10 kills, really nicely done. Big storms coming out. He will end up denying this third base here. So really well played here from Soma, utilizing that big Lurker drop, killing 10 probes, quite a very efficient Lurker. And he will be able to use that pressure, forcing Snow to bring back his army to defend against the Lurker drop. And now he's also even taking a 5th base behind us. So Soma is doing everything that he needs to do right now in order to grab that map control and stop Snow from being able to push out into the map. Snow now having to force a counterattack. If anything, he doesn't have anything else to do right now. Doesn't have a third base. Needs to try to do some kind of damage right now. But as we can see here, Soma's doing an excellent job scouting out for where any potential third bases are. Now Snow will win this fight. Snow will end up winning this fight here, but at what cost? He doesn't have a third base coming up here. His units are going to be forced back over here to try to clean up the army, but he definitely has to launch a counterattack at some point. He cannot allow Soma to establish this 5th base. If he allows Soma to get this 5th base, well, it's just going to be an overrun of Zerg units that would be flowing out from this massive amount of macro that Soma would have. So he has to counterattack right now. Soma's army is definitely a lot weaker right now at the moment. He definitely forced a lot of drops. Actually, a huge drop coming in here, but the drop here, I mean, the economy was already shot here from Snow, so Snow doesn't really need to worry about having a mine from his main. The counterattack is all that matters right now. He will end up picking off this this 4th base here at the 2 o'clock position, but only. He needs to go into another counterattack. He needs to get at least another base here from the Zerg. He did manage to clean up this drop here with his reinforcements, but he has to get something done here. Nice storms going down here on top of the Lurkers here at the natural base, but he needs to bring back his army here from that cleaning up the mineral-only base. He needs to be able to push through here. There are a nice couple Lurkers here positioned, but the Lurkers are going to get surrounded here by the Zealots. The Dragoons are at the back doing a lot of DPS. There is no storms left over there from this army. The Hydra's doing a good job of walling off for the Sun Colony, and now Snow looks like he is going to start to have to pull back. The macro here from Soma is a little too much, and right now even more Lurkers, it looks like, cleaning up more probes. There are not many probes left over at all. Another couple of Hydras being dropped here back. They will pick up the cannon, pick off the probes here as well, stop mining at the main base. So Snow is not mining whatsoever, and Soma, as long as he can hold on for a little bit longer, is going to be able to run away with this game. I don't think that Snow has enough gas with his counterattack. The counterattack was the right idea, but I feel like he was a little too slow trying to deal damage. I think that there was a timing window there where most of Soma's army was utilized at the drop back here at the base, but unfortunately Snow was not able to capitalize on it. Ended up going after a very undefended third base, but Soma can just re-transfer those drones over here to the 5th base, which is exactly what he's done. He's got a couple drones over here mining already, and it looks like he is going to potentially go back into that macro mode. No, just still going to Hydras and Lurkers, just wants to continue to put on the pressure. And this is something that's a little bit issue for us in this matchup, is once that Zerg does get that map control, it's a very, very, almost like an anaconda vice just being put onto them. They get slowly squeezed out of the game because Zerg just simply has too many units right now. Soma is reestablishing that 2 o'clock position as well for the mineral only. Look at that drone transfer in. So many drones have been made over here at the 5th base, and soon he'll be expanding down to the bottom right hand area as well, and it is just going to be lights out here for Snow. Snow desperately needs to start expanding a little bit more. He will end up picking off this Lurker really nicely down to find that out. But his army is very paltry. It's a very paltry force. there's not much within it right now. I mean, he's only sitting on 1-1 upgrades, so these upgrades for Protoss is not good. The Storms, however, have been fairly solid right now, doing a good job, but there's just too many Hydras right here. I feel like the Storms, there's not too many Storms left over right now. High Templar here with no energy left. There's a couple more Storms back with these High Templars, so Soma will have to pull back a little bit, and this is not the best choke point to push up as well. I mean, 1-2 Storms just cover the entire ramp easily, but he does have more Hydras being positioned here for another nice drop for harassment down back in the main base. He does have 2 cannons, only 1 Dragoon here to defend as well. Well, there's a couple of Zealots there, but these Hydras really just draw the attention of the Protoss army, and then once the Protoss army's forces are kind of looking back here at the main base, this is when he goes for the counterattack. Here it is, the counterattack now, a 2-prong attack with the drop and the attack here at the third base for the Protoss. The Storms are not being dropped down right now. Snow is not prepared in time. Oh no, he doesn't even have energy here because his army right now, as you can see, is jostling back and forth between the main and his third base to try to clean up both at the same time. And Soma is doing a fantastic job of just picking off little by little these Protoss units, and he is slowly trying to whittle down the Protoss army to allow himself to just get up into just too much of an advantageous position right now. As we can see here, +1 melee upgrade is now being upgraded here for our Zerg player, so he's ready to get into that mass Zergling production as well. Hive now just having been finished as well, so he will go start the Hive relatively quickly, and he will go into that mass crackling swarm. And with these upgrades here for Protoss, it really doesn't seem like he's going to be able to deal with it as soon as, Hive is just being started right now. Once that crackling finishes, another evolution chamber being started here for Soma. Soma's really gearing up now to go into that late game transition where he is just monstrously far ahead. As we can see here, +2 upgrade on these Hydras as well. The Lings, no upgrades yet, but those are being finished right now. And most likely we'll start going to that carapace upgrade with that second evolution chamber. And Snow, I think, really needs to either drop down a second forge here to catch up in the upgrades, or he's got to find some shuttle drops now to deal some economic damage, because right now he's just getting overrun. He is trying to start up his 4th base right now, but Zerg has hit that 150 supply, and I always say that once Zerg hits 150 supply, it's really so difficult for the Protoss opponent to really get back onto the map. And if you guys ever watch Jayan play, he's a very strong macros American Zerg player. He is so strong, because once he hits 150 supply in his ZvP, I feel he's never lost a single game. And most Zergs, this is the time where once they get Hive and they hit 150 supply with all their upgrades, I mean, it's so difficult. And look at, just look at the swarm coming down here with this, and there's need to be perfect swarms right now on top. Really good swarms here, actually, from Snow. These Hydras in the back getting melted, Lurkers getting melted right now. These Storms are doing a magnificent job of trying to force back the massive amounts, the torrential horde of these Hydralisks. And they will be just enough, I think, to hold off. He does have a couple more Storms left on the High Templar, but he's doing a very good job here of not overextending his Protoss army, defending this little line between the 3rd and the 4th base right now. And that's exactly what he needs to do. The supply, though, definitely does not look good. With Zerg having, 8 more workers than Protoss, it should never be the case. Protoss definitely should be a little bit ahead in the worker count, but with so many bases now coming up here for Soma, now taking the main base here, and the extra macro wave here of Zerg, this is every Protoss's worst nightmare. When the Zerg comes in, the probes are transferring, will the Lurkers get top? There's so many Lurkers. The Lurkers are actually surrounding the army, and I think that's going to be it. I don't think there's anything left over here for Snow to defend. The probes are going down right now. After this is over, there's only a couple cannons here to defend here on the high ground, but that these Lurkers could just easily unburrow and then move up there to that high ground 4th base and pick off the high ground. And another swarm here of Lings and Hydras are coming across the map. As you can see, the Phyla mounts haven't been finished now. Cracklings are just about to come out. We see that +1 carapace, as I said, was going to come down here for those Cracklings, and it's just downfall here for the Protoss. This is exactly every Protoss's worst nightmare in this matchup, where you feel like you're just about to secure yourself back into this game, and as soon as you do that, you're going to notice that, Zerg is just swarming in with this massive Crackling and Hydras, and that's it. GG from Snow. Soma will end up taking game number 1 here on Sylphid. Really well played by Soma, really using that Lurker drop to effectively crush the Protoss streams there. And we're going to be going into game number 2 with Soma up 1-0.